Hello everybody, my name is David, and welcome back to another video. And in today's video, I'm going to be discussing a topic very near and dear to my heart. Now, I've been playing video games for quite a while. In fact, Valve games in particular are among my favorites, especially the Half-Life franchise. The Half-Life franchise, I consider to be among the greatest games of all time. Absolutely phenomenal peak game design. Not much else to be said in that aspect, except there is plenty to say. Half-Life 1 in particular set the standard for first-person shooters when it released, and became much more than a simple shoot 'em up than many other games in its era, like Quake, Doom, Wolfenstein. As great as all those games are, Half-Life is truly special and unique for its time. Half-Life is simply one of those games that without it, we wouldn't have gotten games like Medal of Honor, all sorts of science fantasy games. Truly, it was revolutionary, and Valve really outdid themselves with their first entry, their first installment. Now, this video is completely unscripted, completely just just me talking bullshitting, as I wanted to get my opinions out on a certain topic. A certain topic we'll be getting to in just a moment. Now, in terms of game design, Half-Life really shines in that aspect. With its fun, action-packed gameplay, its puzzles that really do make you feel like you have big brain 600 IQ, and on top of which, really make you feel like a theoretical physicist that you are in Gordon Freeman. Shooting motherfuckers, shooting aliens most of all, has never felt better, and the Gold Source engine really, really shines. Created from the Quake engine, heavily modified, Gold Source to this day is still a great engine to be played on, and plenty of mods are still being made to this day that I play. Half-Life, I can't get enough of it. Half-Life simply is the GOAT. Now, is it my favorite game of all time? Definitely a contender. It's up there in my list of all-time favorites. And its expansion packs really do expand on the concept and are truly great. Very, very great. Take the, for instance, this scenario right here. This is your first ever encounter with a Gargantua, the biggest enemy up to this point. He absolutely shreds me right there. Burns me to smithereens. I load back to a alternative universe where I then go and already have this trap ready set for this man. Figuring this out for the first time, it's gotta be quite the big brain move. Shocking the shit out of him and he explodes. After that asshole's been harassing you the whole chapter from the beginning to end. Power up. Even get rewarded with some grenades. Nicely done. Nicely done. It's just quite the fun video game, simply. There's no really doubt about that. Truly, truly masterpiece of a video game. The kind of video game I'd consider 10 out of 10. But with that being said, however, 10 out of 10 games don't mean perfect. In fact, this game is not perfect. no game in this world is perfect. And because of that, this brings me on to the topic of today's video: why I hate On a Rail. Now, despite all the praises I just pointed out, there is one major issue with this game, and that is this chapter right here, On a Rail. And I'm going to get into heavily why I dislike this chapter. Heavily dislike this chapter. This is among my least favorite levels in the game. Now, starting off, you talked with this Barney clone here. So says some shit about a rocket needing to be in orbit, but fuck that guy. No one cares about him. I really don't like this chapter. We're gonna get into the nitty gritty as to why. But we have to. The whole premise of this, the whole objective of this chapter is just to get to a rocket to launch. And that's, I believe, is for Dr. Keller in Half-Life Decay. Why he wants a rocket launch to cause the reverse resonance. But starting off, so we descend down that shit, and we get onto our first issue that I have, and that's this janky ass rail cart. Now, the Gold Source engine, I just praised it, but still, it has some major jank in it. This cart feels like shit to ride. It really is just not as fun as Valve thinks it is. Now, I'm playing the chapter legitimately, how Valve intended for the sake of gameplay, but I have the game set to hard difficulty here, and I'm gonna try to, honest to God, experience this chapter, and it was painful. It was painful. I did not enjoy it. I've been playing Half-Life for a really long time, and I knew for the longest time, it's just been in the back of my mind. I've never liked this chapter. Every time I played Half-Life, and I've played Half-Life so many goddamn times, I love it so much. But every time I get to this chapter, every time I get to the end of Power Up, I dread it a little bit. I'm not as excited or happy to fun to play, because I know the agony of this chapter. So the janky ass rail cart is just not fun to ride. It really is not fun to ride at all. Puzzles in this are not horrible, but really not anything special. I mean, the only puzzle right there is that you just had to find the lever to get that shit out of the way and figure out where to go from there. And yep, there's the Gold Source engine jank. I try to get into the cart, slip off, and then clip into a corner. I have to kill myself with a grenade, as you just saw. So now I have to replay this level, that part of the level. And because I suck at video games, and it's on hard difficulty, and I just hate playing on a rail, I'm gonna fail and die constantly. But that's a skill issue thing. A skill issue I don't really care about, because I'm freaking playing on a rail. Don't like on a rail. I really don't. But you know that. You should know that by now. I do not like on a rail. I really don't. So here we are. Undoing that shitty fucking crane, I think, is in the way. Why the hell is there a crane right there? Whoever designed this part of Black Mesa really needs to. They really need to be fired. No wonder this part of the rail fucking way got decommissioned. Anyways, take a break from that cart, because riding it is just not fun. Walking around is just completely superior. You should just be walking the whole time. honestly no reason no reason in this world you shouldn't be walking. No reason to use that. So as you can see right here, that is the rocket, bottom of the rocket at least. The areas to explore in this chapter, there's like these secret hidden areas that you have to really go out of your way for. Really aren't all that interesting. And didn't yield any not that cool of loot. Like I'd say this part right here with the bridge and the barrels and the fucking millions of fucking enemies you have to shoot, that tanky ass bull squid and those head crabs that no matter what, those head crabs will always touch you on hard difficulty. And then you get to this little area and there's more fucking bull squids. Some stupid bull squids. Some ammo. In case you don't have an SMG, which you should have an SMG from We've Got Hostiles. This is where you can get your first satchel charge, but satchel charges, honestly, it's a good weapon in some instances, but not in this chapter. I use it right here just because why not? You don't really need a satchel charge, and it didn't even work against that bull squid. Nothing could beat the trusty old revolver. Revolver, one of the best guns in the game. I love the revolver. But I do not love this chapter, not in the slightest. So I get back on this rail cart here, feeling like a complete idiot for riding it. Like, you think Valve knew what they were doing and put those side platforms for players to walk on because they knew the rail cart sucked. And you just decided to give players options because you can't walk on the rail itself, or at least not like the black and yellow part. You'll get shocked with electricity. Yeah, that fucking barnacle thinks he's clever, thinks he's smart, thinks he knows what's up. I know what's up. I'm fucking playing Half-Life in this motherfucker. Stupid freaking chapter. Alright, let's go on to the next major big point as to why I don't like this. So aside from the janky ass rail cart, this chapter is fucking long. It is fucking long. It is so long it drags heavily. It drags on for so long. And it's like, you gotta think to yourself, was that intentional? Or did they really think that this was a good idea? Did they really think it was fun this way? And it was this part right here absolutely kicks my ass. Because these enemies, yeah, they love their grenades, granadas. The length of this chapter is just way too long. The previous chapter power-up was like perfectly paced and perfectly timed. It was the perfect length. All the other previous chapters really felt good in pacing and timing, but this chapter, all of a sudden, they try to like slow things down even more after a couple quiet chapters. I mean, it's like, all right, let's go through every chapter in the game up until this point. So we got, skip the intro, that long ass train sequence in the beginning, which is pretty iconic. I do enjoy that, but every time I play Half-Life, I just skip through it because no reason to watch it over and over again after you've watched it once or a million times like I have. Anyways, starting with anomalous materials. Anomalous materials is really the start of the game and sets the tone for the gameplay to come. Anomalous materials establishes the world, it establishes the setting, which is why I appreciate it. It's a starting point. It starts the game, the real game. Unforeseen consequences really is the start of the action. It's where you find yourself in this situation. You're in. This experiment went wrong. You're in this facility and you need to escape. That's interesting now. You are tested. You are challenged. And then along the way, there's a sense of progression. You fight smaller enemies, and you fight with lighter weapons, just a crowbar and a pistol. Then that secret area where you can get grenades. Really not much to work with, but still, you're scrounging up whatever you can and just finding whatever you can to get out of there. And then next, you got frickin' Office Complex. Office Complex. Office Complex. Quite the interesting chapter. Still early game, so early game stuff, early game weapons. You get the shotgun. You do kill some Vortigaunts in that stage. Kill some Vortigaunts. And then here's the real meat of that action. We've got hostiles. So after Office Complex, where you are basically warmed up to the game. Game full sends you with We've Got Hostiles, where you have to fight turrets, and then the military, the HECU grunts, and that chapter's not bad at all. It's a pretty good chapter, but I feel like it could have been a little bit better. But that chapter is pretty good. And when getting into the action, pacing, and the reveal that the military's not there to help you, they're here to kill your ass. Kill you dead. Kill you dead. And then we have one of my favorite chapters up next, Blast Pit. Blast Pit, where you have to solve the puzzle on how to take down the tentacle, burn them into a crisp, some calamari, some squid to eat. Such a good chapter. I mean, it's a very clear objective in the beginning. The game shows you what you gotta do, and the security guard explains what you gotta do to avoid it, because that thing hears you. Him saying that is the game explaining it, I should say. See, that's what's great about Half-Life as well, is that it gives you information. You gotta figure out what to do with it. You're really figuring shit out as you go along your way, which makes the game a lot of fun. And then in Power Up is your introduction to the Gargantua. You have to solve the puzzle on how to kill that guy. So it's like 2 puzzles on how to kill. Well, I mean, I guess Tentacle is more of a environmental hazard, whereas the Gargantua is an enemy that needs to be killed by unconventional means. But still, there's similar encounters back to back, where it's a whole chapter dedicated on how to figuring out how to get past a really powerful Zen creature. And then Honor Rail completely flips the script and tries to get back into the action in the same way as We've Got Hostiles and even Office Complex a little bit, but tries to throw in this whole gimmick of having this stupid, janky rail cart that you're almost forced to ride. I mean, you don't have to, but there's some sections where you can't help but take it because there's like electric water, or all you have to do is stand on the frickin' yellow and black part to get by it. It's just not a fun time. Not as fun of a time as Valve seems to think when they designed this level. Now, I can understand wanting to try something new, but sometimes trying something new can have unforeseen consequences, if you will. Sorry, that was a horrible joke, but you know what I'm saying. And really, I guess that whoever play tested it, I guess they may have thought it was fine at first, but for us casual gamers, us fans. Now I speak for myself mostly. Maybe you like Honor Rail. Maybe you think it's a fine chapter. Maybe it's your favorite chapter. Now, what I will give to this chapter is that it does stay somewhat focused with there being a very clear objective of getting to the rocket. Now we'll get to the rocket at the very end. But yeah, just the timing, the action, the pacing of the action rather, is really not there, which makes the action itself less enjoyable because it's just more fighting Marines and fighting alien slaves along the way. And other wildlife like hound eyes, those head crabbies always seem to get you. It's a lot. It's like a lot. So that's so stretched out. And again, it drags really heavily. This chapter just kind of, I don't want to say it goes against, but it kind of goes against like what Half-Life was up to this point, and I think it came down to them wanting to try something new, and it really fell flat. This chapter, they experimented, they tried, and it was like this rail cart and constantly like needing to jump off of it to run around and fight enemies. It's like they don't really go all the way with it. They don't really commit to the rail cart as much as they should have. They should have made it like really. So on rails sections are not inherently a bad idea. I don't mean that as a pun. But on rails section, as in like you were like the game is moving you along for you. You're not really controlling how you're moving, but you have to shoot. Excuse me. You have to shoot enemies on wherever you're at. I don't really. I think that's a bad concept inherently, but it's like you can't really be stuck to that rail cart. You constantly have to jump off and fight enemies in like arenas that are not really all that special or memorable. Like after every time I play this chapter, I kind of forget about every arena every part of the level I just went through because it's just so agonizing. Which brings me to my next point of what I heavily don't like about this chapter, and it's the level design. Level design, it all goes back to the pacing really and how stretched out it is. The level design is long, and it's confusing and convoluted and complicated. Now Half-Life is a pretty linear game with little branching sections you can go off to explore. You can go look at something off to the side. You can go find some hidden areas for hidden secrets. But in this chapter, it's really I don't know, that's too out of the way in some instances. It's really not as fun to explore because it's just focus is completely taken off of your very clear objective, and that's to navigate the whole decommissioned rail area and find out where the rocket is so you can launch the rocket as Barney instructed in the beginning of the chapter, but we wasted that guy, so he doesn't matter anymore. I really don't like this chapter, dude. Yeah, the level design itself is it's too confusing in all the wrong ways. It's like it's not really like really you're figuring out, as in you're given information and you you're kind of hinted as to what you got to do. In this chapter, it's just you're completely like, where the fuck do I go? Sometimes, what the fuck am I doing? Where am I going? Really, what am I doing? What am I doing? As you can see right here, it's like if you weren't trying to look for that, you would have never have known about this. You can get some more satchel charges. And a surprise from a head crab. It's not even like the rewards are that great. Like a little bit of health, maybe some armor, some ammo, which is always, all that stuff is nice and helpful to have. But if you're gonna have some hidden secret areas, like I want some cooler loot instead of just like satchel charge as my new thing. Satchel charge is a very underwhelming weapon, I'd say. If you can throw that thing like way farther, it'd be a lot more helpful. But I know it's like you plant it and wait for enemies to come to you to detonate it. But you could also do that with trip mines right there. I don't know if you guys ever did this very famous skip, but at the beginning of Power Up, when you get the trip mines, you ever just build a freaking trip mine staircase along that concrete barrier and just skip that whole chapter and skip getting the rail cart entirely? That's one of my favorite skips in this whole game. But I wish, because it completely negates, the use of that janky rail cart. You're just forced to walk the whole way, and it feels a lot better. It feels a lot better. It's one of my favorite skips. I wish there was a skip for this chapter, honestly. Like there's a skip for that chapter, Power Up, a skip for We Got Hostiles. That famous skip where you shoot the scientist at the beginning and he opens the door for you. I don't know if it still works because Valve did recently update this game for the 25th anniversary. And I am playing the 25th anniversary edition as well after it was updated. This was for the first time I played through it. And I just got to this chapter and was reminded of how horrid it is. How just unfun, uncool, lame, repetitive, and just tedious this chapter is. Another good word to describe it is tedious, as you just constantly, the game is just constantly wanting you to jump back onto the cot. And like I said, I'm playing this legitimately, and it really feels just agonizing every time I ride that cart. I really don't like it. That cart sucks. I really don't like that cart. So yeah, the level design. It's basically, it's trying to be on rails, hence the chapter name, On a Rail. But you're not actually on rails. You constantly have to jump off and then constantly find your cart and progress with it. Which is just why walking is superior. You just never take this freaking darn cart. It's not worth your time, not worth the effort, not worth the energy, but I'm taking the cart here for legit reasons. I keep getting annihilated by these fine gentlemen with their grenades. Like, that's a skill issue thing, I'm aware, but enemies are cleverly placed to infuriate you and frustrate you, especially on hard difficulty. And anyways, time to abandon that freaking cart. As this is one of the few points where pretty much altering where you're going. And break from that cart, thankfully. Now it's a very similar section, something you'd see in Office Complex right here, which is nice.
Okay, we might live
Yeah, so enough of that stupid cart. A lot of the time, actually most of the time, I really don't enjoy myself playing this chapter. I just I just want it to be over the whole time. And these small little breaks are pretty cool. Like you get to fight a unique enemy controlling the turret here. It's interesting. It's interesting how this chapter ended up like this. How s- like pretty much all the rest of the game is enjoyable or can be enjoyable, but this right here is just agonizing. Another slightly cooler section, fighting in really up close to the rocket you're gonna go launch later. This is really one of the worst parts of the game. A lot of people like to shit on Zen and say that part is really, really awful. But hot damn. Hot damn is this part bad. Like Zen's really not that bad. Zen is actually pretty good. There's only one part of Zen that I think is not that good, and that's the beginning of the chapter Interloper, where you're on that island and you have to yeah, after you defeat the Gonarch, you spawn on that island and you have to get to that other smaller island with the teleporter. But at least with that section, you can complete it in like 3 minutes. Whereas with this chapter, you have to suffer for a long time. Other than that, I think Zen is really, really good, along with pretty much every other chapter in this game. This is the only bad chapter. But despite that, obviously it doesn't take away from the rest of the game. It really doesn't take away from how good the rest of the game is. And like I did right there, I just abandoned the cart. I don't really care for it. I don't really care much for what I'm doing in this chapter because it's on a rail. If you're a fan of On the Rail, let me know in the comments. If you're a fan of Half-Life, also let me know. I'd love to create discussion. There's this one section in Half-Life Opposing Force that is 10 times better than On a Rail, and it also features a cart. Yeah, it's right after you get introduced to the Black Ops troopers. Frickin' fight, kill, and destroy all of them, along with your fellow Marines in that one section. And you go ride a cart for a little bit. And not gonna lie, playing that section reminded me of On a Rail, but it's so short, and you don't even need to take the cart. Same thing in that game. And then after you're done with that, later on, you get to see Gordon Freeman run into the teleported to Zen. Anyways, this chapter is just freaking AIDS. I don't like it. Pacing sucks. Level design sucks. It's just not fun to play. It really is. Damn. As you can see, I keep getting my ass kicked in this one section because on top of having low health, I just want to kill everything. Because killing everything is a metaphor for me killing this whole chapter, which represents how much I hate this chapter in the game. But that doesn't make me hate this game at all in the slightest. Just this one specific part that is just so agonizing. Anyways, another point that isn't so much of a criticism, but one point I do want to add about this is that the backstory of this section, like the lore, the background of this part of the game, is that this is a decommissioned railway section that's supposed to take you around this specific part of Black Mesa, but really doesn't. The geography really doesn't make much sense. It's like it only takes you around this little area. It takes you from like a rocket silo area to a different main area, the area that led from Power Up, and who knows where else this can take you. You just go along, go around and round. Get shocked by Vortigaunts. Vortigaunts shocking the shit out of you. When you just keep getting your ass kicked. I would be speeding run through this shit, but gotta play it legit. Just to get the full shit experience of this chapter. That once again is not very fun to play. I really don't like it. Let's see what I do here. Go through this trip mine. I'm safe. One good thing I could say about the cart is that it'll protect you from trip mines. Most of the time. Just wish it could protect you from a lot of things. They could have made it so much more interesting, honestly. Imagine a cart that can have like mounted weapons and like a barricade. Now, in Half-Life 2, there's a much better... They executed like this quote-unquote vehicle section much better. And I'm of course talking about the airboat section in the chapter Water Hazard in Half-Life 2. That concept where you just are full-on in control of a vehicle and you're going throughout a whole open area was a lot of fun. I actually like Water Hazard. Water Hazard was a chapter in Half-Life 2 that a lot of people actually don't like. Interestingly enough, I really like that chapter because you feel like you're just completely flying through that chapter. It's very action-packed and you just run over metro cops, run over zombies, and then later you get the gun to shoot down the chopper. And then later in that game, Highway 17 and Sand Traps when you have the buggy. So yeah, both if you think about it, both the airboat and the buggy are pretty much a spiritual successor to this level, where you're riding the train. So Valve at least learned from their past mistakes and created an even better level using previous concepts. Made a kick-ass game. Let's hope they do it a third time and make another kick-ass Half-Life game with a 3 at the end of it. We'll see if that ever happens. As much as I hope so, it might not. It might. It's Valve intentionally leaves things in the air for a reason, because you never know what Valve is going to do, if they're going to do anything. They might not do nothing. They might make sequels to all of our favorite games. Who knows? They make great fucking games. Excellent games. When they do, it's really good. Like, I've yet to play Half-Life Alyx, but when I do, I'm sure it's going to be great. Yeah, more Vortigaunts. Not gonna let them kick my ass. The Vortigaunts are actually pretty strong on hard difficulty. They'll take up your ammo and they'll shock you. 30 damage if you don't have armor. They would really, really lethal. Yeah, more confusing sections, more confusing layouts. It's not really understood what you got to do, which does make sense because you got to figure it out. But here, you're not really figuring it out. You're just walking around and then countering enemies that stand around until you see them, like that dude right there. Yeah, the enemies that you fight is a mixed bag because you can fight. So there's some scripted sections where the enemies can kind of do whatever they want, and then there are just the absolutely retarded enemies who stand around, and those are always the enemies that are the least fun. Enemies that just stand around like dumbasses. So this is how you play on a rail, really. You just walk on the side the whole time. But like an idiot, have to go for this cot that I don't like. This cart is really, really slow. The slowest cart I've ever ridden. And I know it's a hyperbole, but that's what it feels like. So chugging along this cot, dies again to that Marine. You're gonna try it again. Yeah, take that. You killed them dead. Kill them. Kill them. Here's another pot right here. You just get trapped. There you go. I save. Can't blow that up until yeah, that guy's gonna push the detonator. Shoot him right in his dick and ass. Yeah, take some of that. Alright, well, keep going along the path towards hopefully the way out of here. This section is just... This whole chapter is just long. It goes on for way too long. And like I said before, I suppose no game is perfect. And I understand them wanting to try something unique. But then... They didn't... They just missed the mark on this chapter. Could have been so much better. Imagine an actual railway system that's like more deeper and complex, but you're able to like go fast and like run through like enemies and like more control the cart and make it so I don't know, make it more engaging, make it more fun. You just sit there on the cart like an idiot if you're not walking, and then you die from the enemies that you pass by. You pass by the enemies, they just shock you. You get grabbed by a barnacle. Those barnacles on the ceiling are annoying. Super annoying. Those barnacles will never not be annoying. Especially in Half-Life Source when they're bugged and you don't even see them. In the fan-made remake, Black Mesa, yeah, even the people who made that game, they understood just how bad this level is, how not fun it is to play, so they made a much better chapter. But Black Mesa overall, I don't know, I didn't like that game as much as I thought I would. For me, I'll be sticking to the original Half-Life. But Black Mesa was a good and honest attempt, and I appreciate it for that, at least. I just wish Valve themselves had made it, because that game definitely feels fan-made. It was still a good game, but personally I didn't like it as much. Now this ambush section right here is kind of weird, because the enemies, like, kind of run back and forth, and they never try and shoot you. You have to go for them, and then you just trying to beat you to death. Like that guy, I can't. Trying to revolver him, I get him right there. Let me get these guys. Juice up on the health. Yeah, the resources this chapter gives you are limiting to add some challenge. I can understand that, but the challenge really comes from the hard difficulty and not wanting to comment sumo slide when playing through this level, because this level, once again, is not fun. This level right here, dog. Let me tell you. They tried, like, looking at that mounted turret, they tried to make it much more fun and unique by throwing up those turrets, but there are better turret sections in the game. Much better ones. The first one, where you get to mow down all those Vortigons, like, you have to fight through the Marines first, and some of them are gonna die. So you don't get to shoot down much. Boom. Big boom. That puzzle right there. One of the only interesting puzzles, because if you go up there without knowing what's up there, you're gonna be screwed. But the game is it's pretty obvious what you have to do, because the game gives you so many satchel charges right there. So it's not really much figuring out, just more not falling to death, but I mean, the game is trying to make it clear on what to do, but it's not much figuring it out, but it's still kind of an interesting puzzle if you didn't know what was going on. But of course, I played through this so many times so that I do know what's going on. One of the few parts I remember is that puzzle, with those explosive boxes up top. Those few rare moments make this slightly bearable. Not completely insufferable, but it's a pretty bad chapter, in my opinion. We all know that by now. Alright, this part right here, hands down, is my least favorite part. This is one of the most confusing and just most what the fuck, where do I go sections. And those fucking crates. If you don't... They could push you off and then bring you into the wall and smash you, but I'm good enough to dodge that at least. But I remember those kicking my ass the first time I played this. Those kicked my ass pretty bad. Yeah, this section is just two big loops. I don't know what the point of putting the laser wire there to trip those turrets, because those turrets are never gonna activate, because you never touched them. It would have made more sense if you put them from each side of the wall that you're going through. That dude on the big turret right there. Oh, one point I neglected to mention is those signs, you have to shoot them in order to rotate them. If you didn't know that, would you have been able to figure out that's what you had to do? Because shooting the signs makes no sense. That completely makes no sense in the world. Why would you have to shoot them? You'd think that there would be like a button. Even the first one, like, how would you know to shoot that? The one with the crane. If you didn't know to shoot that, if you couldn't figure that out at first, and you tried to take the cart with you, you probably would have abandoned the cart completely. Which I imagine is what most people did. Like, shooting those signs to make the railway change directions is so fucking stupid. I hate it. I don't like that idea of just stupid little ways to figure it out. I'd rather have more intelligent puzzles that are satisfying and fun to complete. Make you feel like you have big brain IQ. Big brain points, like Gordon Freeman, the OG Giga Chad himself. Anyways, this section right here, I always love this section because it's the end of the chapter and you're finally done with all the rail cart nonsense. But that section before is just 2 loops that you're gonna go round and round in circles before you figure out where to go if you're riding the cart. Because if you didn't know that you had to shoot that sign to keep going forward, you're gonna be going in loops for forever. But that section before with the those turrets around there and that room with the 2 zombies, this is where the chapter starts to, not be shitty anymore. And it's the end, which is the best part, that you don't have to suffer through that no more. You kill the enemies, dispatch the threats. You finally find your way out of there. You're in the surface. You finally made it to the outside. Ever since causing the Resonance Cascade, you finally made it. And I'll tell you, that's such a good feeling. This is the part of the chapter that is really the only good part of the chapter. It's just the rail cart and the tram section. You kill those 2 Marines who are shooting the shit, not being on the job. Kill that sniper up there because he thinks he's clever. And we're ready to get out of this. Open the blast doors. Close the blast doors. And I get absolutely annihilated by a grenade. I tried to go for that turret a few times. I mounted 50 cal. And yeah, the enemies kick my ass every time I try and do that. So I know I eventually give up. Those enemies really pretty lethal on hard difficulty, not gonna lie. I'll give it to them. But still, some of the enemies in this chapter are just retarded. Stupid idiot. Kill that dude. He kills me. Try again. Yeah, the only good part of the chapter is this whole section with launching the rocket. Let's see, that enemy up there. There you go, that sniper's dead. The other dude ran inside and gonna go finish him off. Surprise, bitch. Took him down. Got that shotgun ammo. But I was pretty sure I was full. Yeah, never mind. So, the last point I wanted to bring up is that, one good part I have to say is that there is good story written in this chapter. There's a clear goal and objective, and obviously a challenge for the protagonist to, well, not lose his mind. Well, that's for the player, but the protagonist, Gordon Freeman, has to overcome all these stupid obstacles and enemies and stuff, whatnot. So it keeps you engaged. Yeah, the story is really what keeps you engaged. Is that you want to go launch this rocket and get to this room with this puzzle, this platforming puzzle. I'm not really a fan of. To this day, I still don't know the true strategy on how to get it. I know you have to jump on that box and then jump to the side of stairs, but as you can see right there, the box just clips into the stairs and can end up somewhere you don't want it. There you go, I defeat that laser puzzle. And here it's revealed that the Marines really don't want to kill the scientists. Well, most of them don't want to. And again, adds points to the story of it all. That puzzle keeps kicking my ass. I hate this puzzle. There we go. Defeat it. And then we're gonna get these guys. Blow up that scientist. He's now chicken nuggets. That's excuse me, soldier, marine, excuse me. Light him up. And this room is pretty cool. This is like a control monitoring room. I like it. Juice up on health. And here we are, the launch room. This is the moment we've all been waiting for since the beginning of the chapter, ever since Barney talked about all the bullshit, all the pain, all the suffering. Finally get to launch this rocket. And there it goes. It's just a rocket that isn't gonna work due to the intense concentration of a single powerful being, but did slow down the invasion. Did slow down the invasion of Zen creatures, so more people are able to escape. And like me, I'm able to now escape this chapter because the objective is done. Now this... One of the best feelings is to not fuck it up, but of course I fuck it up. Yep. That keeps kicking my ass because I suck ass. Just jump on the side to finally figure out to do that because I'm not, and I still fuck it up. And I died again. Look at me go. I'm going good. No, I'm going insane. Just watch it. Even, yeah, this chapter is just not enjoyable except for this one section. Yeah, this section warms you back up and gets you back into the groove of what Half-Life really is about. Anyways, that was pretty much all I wanted to talk about for this video. I just needed to air out and just get it out there, my grievances towards this chapter that I've hated for all these years. Explain why I don't like it, and I still don't like it. If you made it this far, appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching. More videos to come in the future. And as always, fuck these guys up. As always, I'll see you later. Bye.